The opinions expressed in this podcast may cause offence. Wayne and Trev do not give a stuff.
You're listening to A Midlife Less Ordinary, the weekly podcast giving you the lowdown on becoming a cool older dude. The good times are not a faded memory. It's time to start living them again. And here are your hosts, Wayne and Trev.
Welcome back, everyone. It's season 4. Here it starts, all the action. Welcome to season 4. And Wayne and Trev's waiting to say hello for this new year. Happy New Year, Trev.
Happy New Year, Wayne. Was yours good? Was it pleasant?
The break was great. It's not great to be back. Is that how you feel?
Exactly. This is what this new episode is going to be about, isn't it?
Well, I think basically we're going to base the whole season on this, Trev. Basically, season 4 is going to be a grumpy old men, kind of Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau kind of style.
Yeah, cool.
That kind of style. Grumpy.
A midlife, more grumpy.
Oh, yeah, exactly. More grumpy. We're not going to be grumpy on purpose. We're like that just by our general demeanour.
Yeah, exactly.
Season 4 is going to be like the things we come across in our life where we just don't get it anymore. It's just we've got too old, or the world's moved on where it shouldn't have. You get what I mean, don't you? Name something that you feel this way about, Trev.
The new Grange Hill movie.
Right. Okay. Tell us about it.
Well, all I've read was they're going to make a Grange Hill movie.
Is Tucker in it?
I don't know. I don't know what. I just saw it and I was like,
is Benny in it?
Is there a Benny? Benny, yeah.
Don't go down that road already. Don't go down that road.
Before we start on that, I just would like to say one thing, which is quite sad this week. Yeah, sure. Everyone knows I'm quite a big old heavy metal fan. And the Welsh band Budgie. Yeah. Surprise. The Welsh band Budgie, who influenced Megadeth, Metallica, Bread Fan, Metallica cover version was a Budgie track. And their lead singer and bass player died this week, Mr. Shelley Burke. Burke Shelley, 71. So it's a bit sad. If you're a heavy metal fan, you'll understand it.
Well, there you go. Yeah, rest in peace from the AMLO boys.
Rest in peace, Mr. Welsh bass player. But yeah, Grange Hill, the movie.
Yeah, it's
what's it about?
Well, it's they've left it a long time, haven't they?
Yeah, where's the audience for it?
Well, they're looking at the nostalgia trip, aren't they? Nostalgia.
Well, people like us.
Yes.
Going to see it.
I'll go and see it.
Would you see it?
Yeah. It depends who's in it. If Mr. Bronson's in it, I will.
He's too busy playing Hitler in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
And he was great at it. Mr. Baxter, if he's in it.
Yeah, Mr. Baxter. Yeah, that blue tracksuit.
Yes.
The Trevor Francis one.
He was the Mr. Pennington of his day. But
he was. So the thing is, it's not going to be a Hollywood production, is it?
No, it's going to be a Phil Redmond production, isn't it? So it's very Brookside.
It is. So who are they going to get to play these people? Or will they be different characters? Will they be new? Will it just be Bruce?
I don't know anything about it, so you've caught me short here. But I'd love to see a nostalgic kind of 40 years on, a bit like Tucker's Luck was when they brought that out after he left school. But now he's like decrepit and in an old people's home, and he's like us, basically, eating Werther's Originals.
What you mean, like Ricky Gervais?
Yeah, exactly.
Or was it
Afterlife? That starts again, very soon. That starts again next week.
What was the one before that, where he was like the sort of
Derek
guy in the home?
Derek, yeah. So
that could be like Grange Hill. So you could get Roland Brown in, who's a bit senile now.
And
like, just kind of like, I bet he doesn't do that anymore. There's no way.
Samo owns a key making shop.
Drugstore.
No, he just said no. Yeah, he owns a key in London somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, okay.
Do you know there's actually a place on the line called Grange Hill, isn't there? On the London Underground.
There is. Yeah, yes, there is.
I don't know if they based that.
I'm aware of that because it always.
Anyway, this episode wasn't meant to be Grange Hill, but I get what you're saying. It's
exactly.
It's, you know,
but who would you go? Name one character who you'd like to see and the actor they're going to play it.
I'd like to see Zamo played by Brad Pitt.
I'd say Colin Farrell. Well,
yeah, he's lived it, yeah.
Wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Johnny Depp might be a good one, actually.
Yeah, myself.
If they allegedly wanted some wife beating going on, anyway, but allegedly.
Yeah.
But
Gripper.
Yeah.
Gripper. Who can we think of? Like a nasty.
Scott Adkins. He's not nasty, but as boy,
Scott, he could. He could do that. Yeah, Scott Adkins could play Gripper Stebson in a boyka kind of way.
Yeah, he could. Couldn't he? Russian going to school. Well, Russians do get Eastern Europeans. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, you just know as well, it's going to tackle racism.
Yeah.
It's going to
LGBT
cover sexism.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Gender fluid stuff.
And they'll probably pull out the drug thing again, won't they?
This is basically, you're summing up, basically the Grange Hill movie is going to be about what our next season is going to be all about.
Yeah. And maybe, I tell you the other one that they might throw in there, a bit of urban knife crime.
Oh, yeah, that definitely, because the postcode. I was going to say postcode lottery. Exactly. That's a nice thing. Yeah, postcode lottery. Exactly. You got that bloke who was Jade Goody's bloke turning up saying, "You've won a couple of grand, mate." Not the kids stabbing themselves on the streets, which is not a good thing, obviously.
Obviously not. No.
But yeah, no. I look forward to further developments with that, Trev. But just
keep an eye on that.
But to bring it up to this episode, which we've entitled "Getting Over the January Blues," I just want to ask you, basically. Are you feeling in a bad mood, apathetic, lack of motivation and hopelessness? These are just some of the symptoms of the January blues. Although it's not the same as clinical depression, the January blues can still take a toll on your mental health and make your experience at the beginning of the year a stressful period instead of a reason for excitement. So Trev, it's quite obvious, isn't it, that you've just been off, you've had some time off, we've had Christmas, you've been drinking, you've had Christmas pud, you've been pulling your pud.
Seen people.
Yeah, you've been doing all of that. And then all of a sudden, bang, you're back. You go to work, it's dark. You come home from work, it's dark. There's nothing going on. Tell us about it. Tell us about it.
I think one of the hardest things is 1 minute you get, there's so much to say for this. 1 minute you've got all the time in the world to do what you feel want to do. Watch those shitty films, get up when you feel like it, eat what you want. It's amazing, isn't it? And you really the trouble is when you really look forward to it, and then you hit it as hard as you can, and then, boom, you've got to go back. Yes. And it's such a culture shock, isn't it?
It is.
I'm in a job where I actually normally go back in between, which I think makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Now you don't, do you? You normally have 2 weeks off or something.
Got roughly 2 weeks off.
So that's a lot harder. Difficult. But I understand. I really do this kind of January blues thing. I don't know what your opinion is on this. Is it sad?
Yeah, seasonal affective disorder.
Sadness.
That's part of it.
Do you believe in this?
Yes, I do. Vitamin D. Yeah, because it's dark. Yeah. You can just go out. If you go out in the daytime, you can just get 15 minutes of daylight, even in the winter, can give you the vitamin D you need just to feel a little bit better. That is one of the tips.
So I think there's a lot of points to this. One, you have all the time, as I've just said. The second one is you're eating a lot of luxury stuff, drinking, which again can make you feel a bit shitty, can't it?
It does, yeah. Do too much of it.
It does. As much as it's good,
very good.
You're seeing people that you haven't seen for ages, and there's a good laugh, and it's all this. It is a very, very hard thing to judge. And we were talking about it today, and I was trying to get a kind of thing about how you could combat this. Because again, I haven't been to the gym, or I haven't done any running. I've started running now the last week or so again, but I haven't been to the gym in like 2 months because I was like, December's coming up, Christmas. And you put a bit of weight on it. It's very hard. It's quite depressing afterwards because you look at yourself, because you always think, well, I'll do it tomorrow. I just keep eating. And again, we're all our own worst enemies, aren't we?
Yeah.
Because I've still got tons of chocolate and crap in the kitchen.
I'm surprised because we've had a few comments, Trev. I didn't know if you've seen them, but a few good reviews, to be honest, about the Christmas edition where everyone enjoyed your eating of biscuits and jolly drinking of the cocktails at the can.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, nice, man. I'm glad people enjoyed it.
So I'm surprised there's any left after the way you downed them.
Well, the thing is now, because there's so many, they call this sale, I actually looked at all the expiry dates, because I didn't want just eat crap again for the next 3 months. So what I've done is I've put them in order so I can just ration myself.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, if that works for you, that's fine.
Well, the thing is, and I don't think those things are a major thing, but I think just going back to the treadmill of life is so hard, isn't it?
Yeah. You're right. You've just said I had like nearly 2 weeks off over Christmas, and I spend the second week counting down the days. So all I'm thinking about is I've only got 6 days left, and that's all I'm thinking about. And then when I actually come back to work, I try and get through that first day, which I find really hard. And then I'm counting down the days, because for the first 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm still doing this, I keep thinking 2 weeks ago I was sitting there watching this and I was really enjoying it because it's Christmas.
Exactly.
It's sad.
We were talking about that. It's awful. We were talking about that today. We were like, 3 weeks ago it was Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what? Yeah, what happens? It's just, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't swap it for the world, but the whole thing about getting back to, and it does feel like, I don't know about you, but when you go back, you've got nothing to look forward to.
Yeah. Especially, is that getting older thing again? Because, we've been doing this a year now and we've got even older, and we feel like we've got less time on this mortal coil. So it kind of, less Christmases. I mean, if we've got another 20 Christmases, I'll be thankful.
I tell you the other thing as well. Yeah. The other thing as well is with a lot of people is obviously they've spent a lot of money.
Yes.
So normally things are a bit tight around this time of year, isn't it?
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you get the January sales pushed in your face.
Yeah.
And you get yourself into more debt.
Is that still a thing?
Because you want to make yourself feel better about yourself. Well, January sale.
I don't think they are anymore.
But that's the thing.
If people now just
Black Friday,
because of Black Friday, is that's sort of diluted the kind of you used to sit there on Christmas Day watching your movie, and then the adverts would come on. This is in the days before Netflix and things, and it'd be DFS Boxing Day sale. Don't miss it. And they've got a sale on every day of the year.
There is no need. This is one thing I know. There is no need for anybody to work in that kind of retail environment on Boxing Day. You do not have to get up at 6 a.m. to work in Next on Boxing Day. No one needs another jumper that fucking bad.
You sound like an alternative monologue from the Fight Club movie. You are not your effing car keys. You're not. You do not get up.
It's true though, isn't it? You do not need to take that jumper back at 6:05 Boxing Day morning to ruin someone's Christmas because they couldn't have a drink Christmas night.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, but I was just desperate to get a jumper to wear for the day after Boxing Day. So
that is one thing that really gets my goat there. There's no need for it.
I think that they did recognise that this year, didn't they? A lot of the supermarkets allowed their staff to have Boxing Day off with their families because of obviously the key workers are working through COVID.
Yeah,
so they did allow that. I think that should continue. Why do we? Exactly. If you haven't shopped properly to allow for Boxing Day within the 2 days you're going to be closed, you've got serious issues.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get me wrong. You always forget something, and I'm totally into like maybe people that don't celebrate Christmas that have got shops and stuff. Fair enough, it's another day to them, but do not force these poor bastards to sit there Christmas night worrying, I can't have another drink because I've got to get out for work at 5 because the sale starts at 6. Nah, bollocks, mate. Stuff that up your arse.
I think anyway, I genuinely think that's I genuinely think that's probably diluted down a bit now. It's not so much of that. Good. But let's speak about something. There's going to be some people out there. We both have admitted that we feel down at this time of year. As I say, a lot of it is to do with the dark. It's the fact that Christmas is over. We haven't got a lot to look forward to. Hopefully, you've managed. With all what's been going on, you might not be looking forward to a summer holiday because you don't know what's going to be happening then.
See, that was the other thing, wasn't it? As well, the adverts, you'd get summer holiday.
Yeah, you would.
People would need need something to look forward. So they would
book your holiday while you're off.
So you'd look forward to it.
Exactly.
It's good, isn't it?
You're splitting up your sort of your time into segments, aren't you? And sort of going, this is the time when I look forward to my holiday. That now you can't do that because they've thrown all that out. Especially, let's not get into the politics of it, but it's, basically, but let's talk about some, people feeling a bit down. Let's speak about the recommended ways. And this isn't just the AMLO boys saying this. We can be testament to some of this, but let's speak about some of the ways that they say you can feel better at this time of year. And one of the first recommendations is basically spend time outside whenever possible.
It's good.
Like I said earlier,
cold.
A bit, exactly. Yeah, it has been cold. It's warmed up a bit now. But even if you're busy at work, a short walk during your lunch break can provide a much-needed breath of fresh air and make a difference. And the vitamin D you get from 10 to 20 minutes of sunshine raises your serotonin levels. And these things do work because I haven't been doing it lately, surprise, surprise, but I used to go on the sunbeds a lot. And I used to do it during the winter. You can tell how anemic I look. But... Not on a podcast, obviously, but
I'm not sure where your white shirt starts and where your skin does. That shows you.
It could all be Casper. But I'm not being funny. When I used to do it in the winter as well. When I used to be a horrible, miserable day, I used to go on the sunbed and you come out of there. Usually you're radiating, but it's you feel better. You get lifted, not like Lighthouse Family lifted.
And you still
Yoda does the light. Yoda does the light.
Still do that. I like that. The way you can't sing that song without doing.
I can't. That's all I can think of.
The story behind that was when Wayne and I used to work together. We had this kind of thing where the soundtrack Lighthouse Family lifted. We imagined Yoda pulling the X-Wing out of Dagobah Swamp while he was singing it. So that's where the impression comes from, if people wonder where it is.
And even 30 years later, I still feel like I have to do it even now. But that's the sort of things that keep you going, to be honest. And that's one of our own recommendations. Definitely. Chat to a friend and remember something funny from your past, because that'll make you feel better, won't it, Trev? And that one's not in my NHS recommended list. But the other recommendations, this one I find hard, and I know you probably do better than me at this, but I have started to do this recently just because I need to make changes. Add some fruit and veggies into your diet. I do eat vegetables. I've never eaten fruit. I haven't eaten it since school days. But because you've been eating a lot of crap over Christmas, that adds up. I'm not being funny.
Makes you feel rough, doesn't it?
Yeah, you feel rough. You feel bloated.
As nice as it is, it does make you feel shitty.
It does. And the older you get...
I'm not saying I'm the world's best eating, but no, it does make you feel shit.
It is. And you basically messed up your system, and you're going to need that stuff. And basically, as much as we don't like to hear it, vegetables and fruits, they clear out your system. Whole grains, lean meats, foods rich in omega-3.
Not being funny, what normal human being eats 20 to 25 quality streets a day for the rest of his life? No one, do they?
But people do have shit diets, though, don't they? People,
I know
people.
Time, didn't you?
Yeah, you do. I mean, I try not do that now. The last couple of years, I ration things like that because you're right. I used to sit there with them quality street. I could eat the whole lot. I remember watching, I know it's a long film. I remember about 6 years ago watching Saving Private Ryan and eating the whole lot of a quality street. And I remet going back to work a stone heavier than I was.
Love that. Really, I love that. All the suffering on the beach.
Yeah, and I'm just stuffing quality street down. And I have ultimate respect for them guys that on the D.
You must have really felt their pain when you were eating.
Well, that's why I was eating it, because I was just like, oh, that's not good. Oh, that's
eating your feelings. Eating your feelings.
It was making me feel bad, but it's true. And you've been eating all that, so making you feel like you're in control isn't a bad thing of your own. So once you start doing that, you feel like you've got an aim, don't you? It's like also, don't make silly New Year's resolutions that you can't keep.
You must have read my mind. That was the next thing. You get these people that this year's not just New Year's resolutions, but I think these people, like, don't get me wrong, I'm all for changing things if they don't feel right.
Yeah,
really do. But this kind of feeling of like, oh, this is going to be, because I don't know about you, but I don't think you can change that much. Can you?
No.
You are who you are. So
exactly.
I'm not saying you can make changes, but it's but this kind of, this is going to be, we're going to do that. They try to do so much in such a small period of time
You put pressure on
because
yourself.
they're so determined. They put pressure on themselves. That's like, again, like we spoke about in previous seasons, it's about baby steps.
Yeah.
And getting used to it.
Make lots of small changes.
Clear that out.
Yeah,
exactly.
Don't make lots of big changes like you're never going to eat blooming a sweet again and not going to eat biscuits.
Because you'll resent it. You'll resent it.
Yeah, you will. And you'll go back twice as hard. You'll come back twice as hard and eat them.
Yeah,
just to set small goals that are achievable. Yeah. And tell you what, it's like losing weight. It's the same as that. If that's one of your goals, just set a small target. Don't stop eating because that doesn't work.
No.
Just cut out some of the stuff you've been... Do a little bit of exercise like we've been saying. Get outside, spend time with your family, kicking a ball about, whatever. But just... cut 1 or 2 pound a week, added that up over the 3 or 4 months before the weather gets better. You've just lost 1.5 stone, mate. That's all you've been doing, a pound a week.
Yeah. I think it is very difficult to remain positive.
Yes.
After Christmas, I think if you can remain slightly positive, then you're halfway there.
Yes.
I think that's the thing. It really is.
It is hard. It is hard, isn't it?
I commute to work and the faces of the people on the bus on a bus.
Oh God,
that's the day after. Oh, honestly, I think I would rather have been on one of the Saving Private Ryan rafts than go on to Omaha Beach than honestly.
That's another pack of Quality Street for me.
But yeah. But it didn't look like that, as though you were just going to raid some German machine gun nest. It just looked terrible. But if you can remain slightly positive with it, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. It is.
And how long?
Sorry, but go on.
How long do you think it's right to leave your decorations up? I'm not a big fan of these.
Get them down as soon as you can.
Really?
Not
really?
After I'm like that. Obviously, not everyone else. Everyone else in the family would leave them up till New Year's Day, but I want to get them down. I want to forget because I want to get on with being miserable as soon as I can, so I can get into the week.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. But yeah, I'm the other way. I kind of think that you can still take that little holiday spirit until about the 3rd or the 4th of January.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then we better do it now. But yeah, I'm not, because I think there's still something I'm not a big fan of New Year, but I still think there's something to enjoy on New Year's Day. You don't want to spend New Year's Day taking your decorations down, do you?
No, but I think that's when we sort of decided that enough's enough. And when basically you're looking at the TV and the Christmas jingles have stopped, it's definitely time for Christmas to finish. You don't want to be sitting there with your Christmas tree up and there's holidays in the sun coming out. It just seems weird. Or what,
Yeah, it's just me, but I like to I know when to stop it, but I think, to me, the whole Christmas holiday, even though I go back to work in between, goes from December the 23rd all the way to about January the 4th. Wow. That's just my opinion. Just because we all work so much, and the whole of the year is just work. So yeah, you just need that little bit rather than just 2 days.
Yeah,
you do. But then that's my opinion. It's at
the end of the day, we're saying that basically, and everyone suffers with this January blues, and it typically resolves itself within a few weeks. But if you do sort of, I know that there's a question marks over whether people really suffer with that seasonal affective disorder. Do you believe in it, Trev?
No, I don't. To be honest, I don't think it's got anything to do with dark and light. I think it's more to do with
back to the chocolate again.
Yes, I think it's just you've had your freedom, get back in your cage.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is. I don't think it's got anything to do with. Don't get me wrong, I do like waking up and it's light outside. And I like coming home from work and it's because it feels like an extended day. You feel
exactly.
See, the trouble is, I think it's that kind of thing where you feel like you need to hibernate. If it's dark, just get in the couch with because I've even gone to that point where now I've got a little blanket to cover myself on the couch. This
is more like carry on old people's home.
Exactly.
Less ordinary.
But you wouldn't put that blanket on in the summer, would you?
Is it tartan?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's Grey and Fluffy.
Okay.
And it might not belong to me, but that doesn't matter.
No, but you're right. You're absolutely right. When you get back from work, the last thing you do, I have to really, but I always feel better when I come back and I have to do this running that I'm still doing at the moment. I come back and it's really hard to drag yourself out. But I actually, even though it's like, it was 1 degree the other day, and it was like, I go out at 6 o'clock and I force myself out. And as soon as I'm out, it's freezing cold, but I only wear a T-shirt. They always say dress for the second mile. They always say, because I get really hot, as you can imagine, because you see me train. So I but I don't feel it. But when I get back, my mood is lifted. I mean, I'm crawling along the floor and going, I sound like a pervert on the phone, you know what I mean? Or midnight caller. But I feel better.
Worry about it, mate. You've always looked like one. So sounding like one, just part of the whole disguise.
That's not a compliment, is it?
Not really, no. See, that's the other thing as well. In the winter, you've got to take all your stuff. You've got an extra layers on. You've got your coat. You've got your gloves. This is what I mean. Like with drivers, they've got the de-icer and stuff. That ain't fun, is it?
No.
But when in the summer, on the spring, you get up and like you just think, oh, I can walk to work in just a pair of shorts and a T-shirt, or that's the.
You can get back, sit in your garden, have a glass of vino, Chateau Neuf de Pape or something,
Chateau Neuf de Pape. Don't get me wrong. I like the sort of being wrapped up and coming in from the cold, and I do like that and the fire and that. But it's just a lot more stuff, isn't it? You don't feel as free.
You're not as free, because there's less you can do. No. You physically can't do as much.
Well, the day's shorter, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is it. It's like, shut the door.
Larry Grayson. Ooh, shut that door. I don't think any of our listeners remember him. But
that you're getting old when you start wearing glasses on necktie things.
Oh God, yeah. And I thought about it
because you can't. And yes. Well, I did it a couple of years ago with sunglasses, and I tried to convince myself it was like, well, just in case. And then you think it's just in case you leave them somewhere, isn't it? That's why they're around your neck.
It is
because you're getting a bit.
And it's convenient because I need them more.
Yeah, because you're getting a bit it's convenient. You're getting a bit old. You forget where you put them, so you hang them around your neck. It's like admitting defeat, isn't it?
Yeah,
it really is. When you do that, it's like,
getting old and acting old catches up with you very quickly. It really does. I think. I think basically, Trev, to try and get us off this moaning about January because it's starting to depress me. Let's bring back at least one of our sections that from our season 3. And that's, I think that people appreciate the fact that we go out of our way to tell them what's on TV with our AMLO Stream Review of the Week. So, Trevor, I mean, we've been watching loads of stuff over Christmas, and there's loads of new stuff coming out because obviously the new year, the new series has come out. But have you picked a couple, or you could extol the virtues of for this stream of the week?
The one we've got to do is because obviously Star Wars is a big thing. I'm going to start with the obvious, the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, how good was that?
To be honest, I weren't holding a lot of old Star Wars fans. I hated the idea that they took the mystery out of Boba Fett and had a backstory because that's why he was such a badass.
Exactly.
And when we spoke about that little short thing that was on Disney about the history of Boba Fett, a lot of older people on there, like Robert Rodriguez, who's obviously directed the first episode of the Book of Boba Fett, he said that. And I give them their due. They have tried to remain a quiet. And the start of the first episode, I was like, "This is really good. This is." It lost its way a little bit, but it's still a lot better than The Mandalorian. I know you don't agree with me on this.
No, not necessarily. I think that Mandalorian, I think it kind of run its course now. I don't know where they can go with it, but I enjoyed the new Book of Boba a lot more than I thought I would, and now it feels more adult and Star Warsy to me.
Yeah, it does. And don't get me wrong, he's got his helmet off way too much.
Is he a roundhead or cavalier? Which one?
He's a definite roundhead. But yeah, but I know it will probably get progressively worse. Yes. And by about the 7th or 8th episode, I'll be slagging it down more than I'll be liking it. But at the moment, I really do like it. I was a bit like that with The Mandalorian. I noticed at the start, I was kind of slagging it down about 30% and kind of enjoying 70%. By the time I got to the end of it, I was slagging it down 70 and enjoying 30 of it. And I know the Book of Boba Fett will go that way. It will be a slow decline. But at the moment, it's pretty high, to be honest.
I agree. If you're into Star Wars and you haven't seen it yet, Disney Channel, only 2 episodes so far. But it's very, very good. A more adult Star Wars story, basically. And if you know who doesn't love Boba Fett, find out a bit more about him. Yeah. And you see little clips of him as a boy. If you're missing Attack of the Clones and the IKEA kitchen Jango Fett style, you see a bit of that looking back.
That might have been the 10%. I was like, oh, here we go. They had to bring this shit back, didn't they? Oh, okay.
But they have to sort of join it all up, join the dots, don't they? So,
this is true, man. This is true.
For one of these things, and there's about 6 of them coming out, I reckon it's a winner, definitely a winner.
I reckon, very quickly, the Obi-Wan one will be terrible.
Yeah, I've got a feeling it will be as well.
Yeah, we'll discuss that when it comes out.
Yeah, we'll wait for that. We'll give it a chance at least, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
So my first recommendation of it is a movie. It's on Apple TV, and it's a movie called Swan Song, and it's basically when a loving husband and father is diagnosed with a terminal illness, he's presented with a controversial alternative solution to shield his family from his loss. And that's replace himself with a carbon copy clone. And it's one of these kind of stylish near future set stories where the technology is quite believable. It's been well done. It's a slow burn. So you've got to like them kind of movies. I kind of liken it to Der Maschine.
It's good. Yeah. Good film. Yeah. Does it feel like a sci-fi film though? The way you're describing it doesn't sound
because
like it does.
It does. No, it could be set now if you could believe that they could clone like that now. You know what I mean? They've said they've done it really cleverly, and I don't think it'll age. When I was watching it, I was consciously thinking, how's this going to age? But the cars look like they could be them in 15 years' time.
So basically, it's not another version of Gattaca.
No, it's not. It's not meant to be nothing like that. It's not.
That's just poncy crap.
It's not. Yeah, that's meant to be art or something. No, it's not that. It's all about the moral dilemmas. So it's all about a man who's sitting there thinking, look, this technology is available. I'm worried about leaving my wife, who I think was pregnant, and a young son. Do I replace myself with a clone? She'll never know any different. Or is that morally wrong? It's kind of asking the questions like that. And I like that kind of thing because it makes me think of your own mortality and this, that, the other. I like these slow burn kind of things. If you like the Fast and the Furious and that's it, you're not going to be into it, basically. But if you like slow burning, clever... it's not really sci-fi, but it is in a sense. But moral dilemmas, Swan Song, slow burn, well believable, near future, well worth of.
Anybody recognisable in it?
I can't remember his name. It's Mahershala Ali. Glenn Close makes a sort of small appearance in it. Okay. She's in it. I won't give away anymore. Yeah, she's in it for quite a while, but it's quite a good role for her. It's believable. Definitely for you, I would definitely say it's definitely worth a watch. Anyone that likes that genre, one for you. So Trev, what about your next one?
Well, my next one. I subscribed to BritBox. It was they were doing a deal, and to be honest, all I've watched is like loads of Jerry Andersons. They've introduced it to my lady, and she hates it as much as I love it, which is quite entertaining. But then she's a bit younger than me, so I get that. The thing I watched was a film or a documentary called Hollywood Bulldogs.
Yes.
Now this, have you heard of it?
No.
It's definitely worth watching. It's about a documentary about all the old school stuntmen.
Oh, cool.
Leading from like how they started right up to all the kind of 70s and 80s Indiana Jones films, Star Wars. Yeah, and basically they were gangsters and thugs that didn't mind getting beaten up. That's how it all started. Unfortunately, the narration's Ray Winston, which is shit.
Yeah.
It does kind of fit the
genre
nicely with it, because a lot of the old boys on there who were stuntmen were East End mobsters and stuff. Again, there wasn't actually, and it shows you the sort of forming of their union at one point in the sort of 70s and 80s, where if you weren't one of these guys, you weren't getting the work.
Has it got the bloke in it that
yes, it has.
Beat up? Yeah, you know,
exactly.
Bruce Lee, Gene something, isn't it?
No, thingamajig. Those old school wrestling fans, Pat Roach, he spoke about in it.
Bomber.
And the most famous guy is the guy that did all the stunts for like the James Bond movies and Indiana Jones. I recognised him straight away. The other guys I didn't really recognise. And there's quite
Lee Majors in it?
Bit. No, they're all English. It's the
Fall Guy.
The Fall Guy.
You just got it.
Yeah, I just got it. Took a little while for that to drop in. But it is really, really good. But they were saying, and they said how it's like in the 70s and 80s, it was a really competitive business.
Yeah,
because they were all going for the same. But then different directors liked working with different teams of stuntmen, so there was always regular work. One of the interesting bits, and obviously these films were like quite big back when we were kids with the Death Wish movies. Yeah, and all of them agree that they absolutely hate Michael Winner.
Yeah, I can imagine,
because he just didn't give a shit. He had no safety things. He just kind of...
Do you remember funny enough, that links with something you said
Grange
earlier.
Hill.
Yes, Claire Scott from Grange Hill. He was dating her when he was about 60 and she was about 18.
And the reason being, she was quite a well-developed young girl, wasn't she?
I don't know what you mean.
Because I remember...
Yeah. In the brain, obviously, in the brain.
Yeah, because I really, she was my go-to, for my Grange Hill knockoff, as I say.
Everyone had one. It sounds really grotty now because they're playing school children.
Exactly. Yeah. As long as you weren't like the carrot top one, the ginger one.
Oh yeah,
because that would have been cool. What was his name? He was like the fixer, wasn't he?
What was his name? Pogo Patterson.
Pogo. That was it.
I've got the Grange Hill annual downstairs. So my last recommendation for this week, and the final recommendation for this week's stream of the week, is Spiral. And if you haven't heard of Spiral, it's basically a spin-off of the Saw movies. So basically what I'm saying is if you like the Saw movies, you're going to like Spiral. It takes the story in another direction because obviously Jigsaw's finished. So basically there's a copycat now. Chris Rock is at the centre of this trying to play
Surely, if Jigsaw's finished, don't you just like shake the box and smash it up and start again?
I would, because I fucking hate the things. But it would make sense. But if you like grotty ways of dying, like the Saw movies were, this carries that on quite well, to be fair. The reviews haven't been too favourable, but I think that's because it's another Saw movie to all intents and purposes.
That's why I've not seen it.
Well, Chris Rock pushed for this. Apparently, Chris Rock met some of the producers. Yeah, I like Chris Rock, but he's done things like Rush Hour and he's done his comedy and everything else. And then apparently he wanted to break into horror, which is a weird thing because you think that horror is the kind of lowest genres, really, unless it's a really big franchise. And he come up with the idea and wanted to play this role of the policeman.
Detective, isn't he?
Yeah, Zeke Banks he plays. In the process of punishing the perpetrator, he ends up facing demons of his past. His dad's Samuel Jackson in it, so you know where this is sort of going. It's a story somewhat predictable, and the ending may disappoint. But as a new beginning for the Saw franchise, I'll tell you, it delivers enough of the good stuff to keep you satisfied. So if you like the Saw movies, watch it because it's got some grim. Even I've seen everything, zombie movies to grim, not snuff movies because I don't know if they exist, obviously. But there's some grim.
About that, the better.
There's some grim deaths in it. Put it that way. So that sums up pretty much.
I didn't fancy it, to be honest. I got really bored of the Saw movies. I think after
I still enjoyed them, but they're not.
I'm a bit like that. I'm a bit like that with franchises. I struggle after anything. Strange enough, I watched all the Toy Stories over, and once you get to 4 and that, I've had enough of them. You know?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but if in the right, I mean,
of any decent movies,
The Exorcist 3 is quite good. But they're all so spread out, you know what I mean? But I know what you're saying. But you've got to like that genre, and just like this. I can see, I have to watch these on my own, because you're not going to get many of your lady friends who sit there and go, oh yeah, I like people's tongues being pulled out. And I watch it for weird escapism. You know what I mean? There are some women that love all that. Yeah, of course there is.
Big horror film fans.
I'm not gender stereotyping, I promise. But but in general, it's a movie you end up watching on your own a lot of the time. But if you like the Saw movie, definitely one for you. But I think that sums up for this. So I think there's some more I've seen over the break, which we could recommend moving forward.
To be honest, there's loads of things.
We'll put them forward.
Yeah.
But I think just to sum up for today, Trev, what's your advice to people to get over these blues and get on with the year so far?
Well, try to do stuff in the evening that you enjoy.
Yeah, take up a new hobby or something, or take up something new.
Or watch stuff that you really, because obviously
listen to us on this podcast. I mean, obviously you have to be listening to us
exactly, but
listen to the back catalogue.
That's the thing. When if you do go home and sit there in the dark and stuff, instead of just sitting there moping, watch some of your favourite movies or play your favourite video games, things that make you feel good about yourself. Rather than wallow in it, try to get out of it. I think that's the thing about humans is we've become, there's no middle ground. You're either ecstatically happy and look how good I am because of like social media, or you're down in the dumps, you're miserable as thing. No one's content. Just try to be content for a little while and wait for the really good things to come. Like, as you say, book some time, days out.
Yeah, that's good advice. Start planning what you're going to be doing when things get better. You know, we're looking like now at the end of all this crap we've been going through now that they can see that obviously it's dissipating, you know, so you can plan your holiday a bit better. So spend time planning that with your family if you're lucky enough to have one. Get outside, take up something new, just learn something new. Go back over our back catalogue of podcasts and listen to how much we've improved, because we're not modest at all.
Improved. You haven't really. You've stayed pretty static. Really.
Exactly. I'm a static person, Trev. That's who I am.
Yeah, I think you are. I think that's the thing.
You know, don't suffer in silence. If you've got your own ideas on what people can do to get over, the January blues, as always, go to amlopodcast.com. Leave a message on the blue room. We'll play it on the best ones on the podcast. Leave us a not a written message. Don't send us letters.
Written.
Don't write anything we won't understand.
Like Mr. Bronson. Written essay.
But as always, thanks for listening. Welcome to the new season.
Yeah.
I hope
welcome to 2022.
Yeah, welcome to 2022. It sounds so futuristic, Trev, doesn't it?
Doesn't it?
It does. It's mad. But
it does.
And we'll see you all on the next one. Cheers, Trev. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please leave a rating and review and visit our website at www.amlopodcast.com to check out all the links and resources in the show notes. Start living them good times. See you next time.